Good evening, and thank you for joining us to celebrate educators and school employees from across Merced County. I'm Steve Teachin, Merced County Superintendent of Schools. We would normally have a large event at the Merced Theater to celebrate all of our honorees with families, friends, students, and other honored guests. But this year, we must host another virtual event. The past 2 years have been difficult for all of us and have shown us what an integral part our schools play in every community. To the teachers and school staff out there tuning in tonight, my sincerest thanks for all you've done to foster the continuity of learning and keeping your students engaged as they return to campus earlier this year. The work our schools do now will shape our students for years to come. We know that students miss the emotional support they receive on a daily basis when school was not in session. There's no substitute for the supportive behavior of teachers, administrators, and support staff for students when they gather in school. I can comfortably say that we are grateful that students and staff were able to return to their classrooms. This virtual event would not be possible without the support of Merced County Office of Education staff. From events, Stacy Arancibia and Patty Espinoza, and from our communications team and MeTV, Dylan McMullen, Kathleen Ochoa, and Hector Ramirez, a huge thank you to all of them. Our event sponsor is a true supporter of education across Central California. Educational Employees Credit Union, EECU, has supported educational employee recognition programs for many years, not only in Merced County, but in Fresno, Tulare, Madera, and Kings counties as well. EECU's sponsorship is the reason we are able to gather tonight for the 16th year. Thank you to EECU, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 Merced County Excellence in Education Awards Recognition Evening.
The first Excellence in Education School Employee Honoree is Gabriela Bravo from the Atwater Elementary School District. Sandra Scheiber is the superintendent. Gabriela is an office assistant at Schaefer Elementary School. As an employee and parent of 2 AESD students, she understands families and has the exceptional ability to build relationships with her positive attitude and warm, welcoming smile. Gabriela has demonstrated incredible dedication as she assisted families who struggled with the technology of distance learning. Her ability to take on any challenge with a positive attitude is admirable, and her kindness towards families and the community is felt by everyone who walks into the front office.
Our next honoree is Dottie Hernandez from the Dos Palos Oraloma Joint Unified School District. The superintendent is Megan Grijalva. Dottie is executive assistant to the superintendent. The day-to-day decisions made by the superintendent's office have a direct impact on students' education, and Dottie coordinates these decisions with the students as her main priority. The level of trust and confidence the community has in her is a direct result of her commitment to her school district and her understanding of what the education system means to families.
Our next honoree is Mai Yer Vang from the El Nido Elementary School District. Lori Gonzalez is the superintendent. Mai Yer is an instructional aide at El Nido Elementary School. Her kind and positive attitude established her as a favorite amongst students, and her willingness to help has made her essential amongst staff and teachers. She believes that the biggest impact she can make is being present for students and making sure they see that they are important. Mai Yer's good nature provides students with a sense of security, and her love for her job is reflected in everything she does.
Our next honoree is Adelaide Etheridge from the Gustine Unified School District. The superintendent is Brian Ballinger. Adelaide works in maintenance at Gustine Unified High School. She has displayed a level of attention to detail and a work ethic that is second to none. As soon as students step foot onto campus, the school becomes a learning environment, and she goes the extra mile every day to create a safe and positive place for students to learn and succeed. Adelaide takes pride in her work and cares for everyone who is part of her school community.
Our next honoree is Marcel Ibarra Jr. from the Merced City School District. The interim superintendent is Doug Collins. Marcel is the head custodian at 80 Givens Elementary School. He is guided by the belief that a safe and well-maintained environment is what students need in order to learn, and that is the most important impact he can make is to nurture a student's character. Whether providing mentorship or taking on student helpers and instilling a sense of accomplishment and work ethic into them, Marcel proves that he is a valued partner in the education of all students.
Our next honoree is Gigi Bettis from the Merced County Office of Education Human Resources Department. The Deputy Superintendent is Eva Chavez. Along with her responsibilities as a Human Resources Assistant for MCOE, Gigi is also the Chapter President and Job Steward for the California School Employee Association. She is exceptional at assisting employees that need guidance, as well as empowering them to use their own voice, and doing it all with warmth, enthusiasm, and a sincere desire to promote positive labor relations. Gigi's work is the embodiment of the MCOE mission: nurture, serve, and lead.
Our next honoree is Rosemary Cota from the Merced Union High School District. Alan Peterson is the superintendent. Rosemary is the cafeteria supervisor at Golden Valley High School. She's described as a hard worker who inspires confidence in everyone around her. The leadership she displayed amid the pandemic, encouraging her team despite the troubling times, was a reflection of her professionalism as a supervisor. Rosemary's leadership shows how much she cares for the program and the students she serves by providing meals, making connections, and serving students and the community with positive energy and a can-do attitude.
Our next honoree is Antonio Vasquez with the Weaver Union School District. The superintendent is John Curry. Antonio works as a custodian at Weaver Middle School. Antonio's main priority is safety, and he believes that when students aren't feeling safe, they aren't giving it their all. He is determined to create an environment where students and staff feel safe and comfortable. Antonio keeps health, safety, and care of the community at the heart of his work, and is a staff member who has truly had a positive impact on the overall climate and culture of the school.
Don works really well with students. He always has a pleasant attitude, he always has a smile. He greets the kids in the morning. He was chosen because we all feel our school is a better place because of Don. We've got flowers planted all over the place now, we've got new trees, he keeps the grass green, and maintenance for the buildings and behind the scenes that we don't really see, but it's important to how the school runs. He's aware of all that and he's on it. If it needs to be done with Don, it's gonna get done.
Don is very approachable. He's very easy to talk to. He's a very helpful individual. He's always there to assist you with anything you need help with. He's very knowledgeable. He knows how to do a lot of different things. And he's also very reliable. You can count on him to get his job done and done it very quickly.
Some of the qualities he has is that he's a hard worker, very reliable, punctual. He takes initiative on things. Whenever needed, he'll be there, take care of whatever problems happening, and then he'll go above and beyond to make sure that everything's working properly. He sends a message out, when you're gonna do a job, do it the best you can, give it all you got, so that this way you can take pride on what you're doing.
When on my regular day is coming in, open up the school site, making sure that everything is safe and also clean. So I start blowing down, cleaning up things. If I see anything that is out of the ordinary, well, I take care of it first thing. The best thing about my job is the satisfaction that I get after I finish a task, always thinking that the kids are gonna be happy, the teachers are gonna be happy, and administrators are gonna be happy with the results of it. That's like my favorite thing to do here. Keeping the campus clean, so that way, when the kids come in, they come into a clean environment. And I've always been students first. That's the main thing, students first, teachers, staff, and then us.
Don does everything for the kids. It just shows that he really cares about his job and making a very safe and welcoming environment for our students.
Don has a really good attitude, a very positive attitude. He's always smiling, he's very approachable, well known by everyone. He connects very well with students. They all look up to him. He also drives a bus, so that gives him a big edge in which he's able to be around kids more.
Don works really well with students. He always has a pleasant attitude, he always has a smile. He greets the kids in the morning. I think he's just a really good role model because his work ethic is so good. He's always trying to do the best that he can do, but he takes the time to stop and engaged with the kids as well, which is really important for the kids. He's just a great person, you know, every aspect of him, from his personality to his work to the way he gets along with people. He's just a wonderful guy.
With the students, you always gotta greet them with a good morning. There's kids that they don't like to talk at all. So you just give them a smile. Now with the mask, you kind of have to just blink your eyes. But I always try to make the students smile.
Our campus looks so much nicer since Adon has come here. We feel a sense of pride now that we have such a beautiful environment to work in. It's just more welcoming. There's always something in bloom, so it's very exciting to come to school.
We all appreciate that attitude that, you know, he takes care of our school, but he also takes care of our needs and our students' needs. And I think that makes him a great candidate for this because we have confidence in him and his work is always impeccable. If we need him, he's going to be there and it's going to get done. So we really love and appreciate him very much.
Don deserves this award, and that he's a hard worker, and if you see him out there, go ahead and congratulate him because he deserves it.
Hi, my name is Adán Moreno. I'm the lead maintenance bus driver mechanic of this district. Hello, my name is Adán Moreno. I've been working for the Ohio Unified School Districts since 2004. This September makes 17 years. Throughout the years, I have learned a lot from my supervisors, co-workers, and friends. I never thought I would make it past year one, since I barely knew any English when I first started. A year later, one of my old supervisors put me in charge of one of our elementary schools, Shendo Elementary, to be exact. I worked there for years. Then the district posted a job as a lead grounds maintenance bus driver mechanic, and I applied. I got the job, and I did this for about 6 to 7 years. During that time, I was nominated Employee of the Year. I remember thinking to myself, thank you for the nomination, but I'm just doing my job. Then a position of lead maintenance bus driver at Harmony School opened up, and I asked to have that position, and I got it. 1.5 years later, they nominated me again as Employee of the Year. This time, I got emotional. Again, I just felt that I was just doing my job. This was in 2019-2020, a year passed by, and I didn't hear anything else regarding the nominations, but I thought nothing of it. Then in 2020-2021, the pandemic comes around, and the district modified our schedules, and we could only come to work 2 hours a week. I could not just stay home all the time, so I decided to come to work and do it in my free time. I painted a couple of murals in our gym's lobby. I wanted to do this so when the kids came back, they could see something new and positive. Well, a few months later, Mrs. Morrison comes to me and tells me that they are nominating me again for Employee of the Year. I felt very emotional since I just lost my father earlier this year, and I would love for him to see me getting this award. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity and for giving me this award. I never thought that doing something that you love could get you such a great recognition like this one I am receiving today. I have heard the saying, do what you love and you never have to work a day in your life. Well, that's how I feel about my work. I want to thank the people that nominated me, Mrs. Morrison, my coworkers, teachers, and school staff. I also want to thank my wife, my daughter, my parents, and especially my dad for teaching me and showing me how to be an honest, hardworking man. He taught me that by working hard, you can accomplish anything. I love you, Dad. May your soul rest in peace. Thank you.
The first honoree for school administrator is Cheryl Brown from the Atwater Elementary School District. As a school nurse for 35 years and sworn disaster worker, Cheryl volunteered her services with the COVID team at the MCDPH for 2 months. Because of that experience, Cheryl was given the knowledge and resources to step up and guide the Atwater community in the months that followed as her role of COVID coordinator. A rare few have demonstrated the level of dedication, compassion, and empathy that is reflected in her performance every day.
The next honoree is Joseph Tenorio from the Delhi Unified School District. The interim superintendent is Jay Sarator. As the Director of Food Services, Joseph regularly looks for innovative menu ideas and even implemented culturally diverse meals to reflect student diversity. Joseph is not only quick to serve student nutritional needs, but he also creates events that help reward school staff throughout the school year. He is described as an outstanding leader and an even more outstanding person. His enthusiasm displays his level of passion for food service and nutrition.
Our next honoree is Lori Gonzalez from the El Nido Elementary School District. As the superintendent, her willingness to collaborate, eagerness to learn, and impressive ability to multitask demonstrates her honorable nature and love for education. Under her leadership, she has established resources such as food donation partnerships for low-income families, internet hotspots throughout the community, and PBS family educational workshops. Lori is honest, compassionate, and genuinely interested in what is best for the school and the community.
Our next honoree is Steve Whitaker from the Merced City School District. Steve is a maintenance supervisor and works hard to ensure that everything is done seamlessly, timely, and to a high level of satisfaction. He prioritizes the safety of students and staff and is committed to improving safety of sanitation products on hand. His dedication to working hard, working smart, and transferring that mentality to others makes him a strong supervisor and an even stronger leader.
Our next honorees are a team from the Los Banos Unified School District. The superintendent is Mark Marshall. Alejandro Franco and Stacy Ortega are school counselors at Creekside Junior High School. Alejandro and Stacy's goals are to build a strong rapport with students and assure them that they are on the right path. They seek to encourage students to develop and strengthen their ability to excel both in school and at home so they can be prepared for the future. During the pandemic, they created 2 websites that focused on personal and academic support for students and hosted daily virtual lunch bunch to provide them with the opportunity to connect and interact with each other. Both Alejandro and Stacy are driven by a genuine regard and well-being of others. They make every effort to cultivate strong relationships with students and their families.
Our next honoree is Francisco Romo from the Merced County Office of Education Educational Services Department. The Assistant Superintendent is John Magnuson. Francisco is the Director of Continuous Improvement for MCOE. Francisco has dedicated his career to giving a voice to people who have not always had one and bringing a positive approach to challenging situations. He is described as a thoughtful person devoted to improving instruction and academic outcomes for English learners. His level of enthusiasm is only matched by his selfless desire to see people succeed and grow.
Our next honoree is Christy Johnson from the Merced Union High School District. Christy is the Director of Student Services. Christy demonstrates an unwavering commitment to improving outcomes for students with disabilities. She has also shown dedication to keeping staff safe by working with local medical professionals to ensure that every staff member has the opportunity to get vaccinated. Her ability to mobilize resources for students and staff and her tireless efforts to create improved opportunities have made an incredible impact on the district and the community.
Pajay has a great attitude. He loves working with the staff, and more importantly, he really loves working with the students. I feel he was chosen as Merced County Administrator of the Year for multiple reasons, but last year I think was just the one that just tied it off. We had to go to distance learning like every other school in the United States, and he made sure that all students were ready to go. We had one-to-one devices, we had mobile hotspots, and he would just fix whatever needed to be fixed. So his dedication to his job and to his staff and this community is, I personally feel, why he was chosen for this award.
Pajay was the perfect person to represent our district and also represent our county. He stands out as an administrator, he stands out as a leader, because it doesn't matter what the circumstances, it doesn't matter what the situation is, it doesn't matter what we ask Pajay to do, he does it in a positive manner and a positive attitude. Obviously the pandemic was a huge transition and a huge change for all of us. Was it hard? Of course, I think it was difficult for everybody, but because of Pajay's background and because he's prepared our district for technology in the 21st century, it wasn't such a huge transition.
I believe Pajay was chosen as Admin of the Year because he gave 100% to our district. During the beginning of the pandemic, he helped all students receive their Chromebooks, their hotspots, and made sure that all their devices work. He is a very hardworking person, dedicated, just an overall a great person.
So I oversee all the technology aspects of the district. For the last 20 years, technology has seen an increasing footprint in the K-12 educational environment. And so in today's world, especially with technology, the more you learn and relearn new technology, the easier this becomes for you. I believe that's important because we have to prepare our students for the career and education in college.
Pajay is probably one of the most positive people that I know. He always has a smile on his face. He always is incredible to work with. He'll do anything for the team. He's outgoing, and I think his supportiveness is what makes him so special. It doesn't matter if you need a math teacher. It doesn't matter if you need somebody to sort technology, clean technology. He's one of a kind.
I would say Pajay has more of a collaborative leadership style. He really likes to get staff input, student input for that matter. He uses my students a lot to receive different feedback, what students are looking for. And I really think that type of leadership style is another reason why Pajay is receiving this award today.
So there's a lot of programs I started when I first got here about 5 years ago, but the one I'm most proud of is the District Technology Advisory Committee. And that basically is a committee made up of teachers and technology staff that will provide the mission and vision for our district in terms of technology. It is a chance for our teachers to provide input and also give voice to how we spend technology in our district.
Pajay helped our program. A lot of our students live out of town and they had no access to the internet, so he made sure students that live out in the country had their hotspots. Pajay has a really big heart, and you could tell he loves everybody in this community.
Pajay impacts every single day of our students and staff's lives. From the time the teachers get onto campus to the time the students leave and thereafter, Pajay's impacting their lives and their educational experience.
Pajay is so dedicated. He really just excels with everything he does. He treats everyone with dignity and respect. He's just really helpful with everything that he does.
Student learning is at the heart of what we do, and so partnerships with the parents and community is very important because the more we work closely together, the more we can achieve that goal of student learning. My name is Pajay Lee. I'm the Technology Systems Director at Dos Palos or Loma Unified. I want to first thank the few folks that nominated me for this I'll Get You Back One Day. I want to thank my family, my mom and dad, my annoying munchkins, and especially my wife. Like everyone else, I have my own story. I came to this country as a refugee over 40 years ago and knew no English. I grew up really poor, lived in some of the worst areas of the Central Valley, went to college, was a teen parent, taught high school, taught teachers, and went into educational technology. I went to college because I believed in the American dream and the opportunities that this country affords. I love teaching, but educational technology is truly a passion of mine because as a learner, I get bored quickly, and I saw that my students did the same. So technology to me is the great engager. The longer I taught, the more I realized that some of my students didn't have access to what I had. And as I made my way out of the classroom and into educational technology, I realized that the digital divide is very real, and that was more evident during the pandemic. What we forget sometimes is that the digital divide is truly about equity and access. Even after 20 years from Stanford's initial research on the digital divide, those numbers still hold true. In a recent survey conducted by the Pew Research Center, families making less than $30,000 have limited access to home broadband. And the trend is similar for access to laptops, desktops, or other technologies. In our small town of Dos Palos alone, 90% of our students needed hotspots so that they could do distance learning. So what does that mean for us as educators? We have to continue to close the digital divide. Here are some things we can leverage to make this a reality. Leverage E-rate and federal funding. Rethink our hiring practices for technology leadership to ensure technology leaders have an educational background to prepare our students to be competitive in this globally connected world. And lastly, advocate for more funding through nonprofit educational technology groups. I want to thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Nathan Cavedo, Media and Communications Manager at MCOE. Thank you for tuning in to celebrate the many educators, administrators, and other school staff across Merced County. We all know what a complicated and stressful year and a half it's been, especially for education leaders who face many unknowns, yet work tirelessly for our students and families. Several school district superintendents asked that we acknowledge and thank County Superintendent Tejan for his leadership during this unprecedented time. We had planned this as a surprise at the in-person event, and since we have moved to a virtual format, we prepared a short video with some of those superintendents. Let's take a look and thank you, Dr. Tejan.
Dr. Tejan has been an incredible leader, in my opinion, during this challenging time. We have been through and continue to be in one of the most difficult times in public education. We're going on nearly 2 years of a pandemic. Steve Tejan brought us together as county superintendents. He set the structures for us. We met on a regular basis. We communicated very openly. We were given the guidance. We were given the tools to communicate with our communities. He also coordinated phone calls with Merced Public Health. Steve also was a lobbyist when things were difficult and we had to close schools. And Steve was a voice for us here locally in Merced County, but he was also a voice for us in Sacramento, advocating that we receive the flexibility we need to open our schools safely and keep our kids in the classroom.
Well, Dr. Tejan, even before COVID, I would say he's just been one of those county superintendents who takes ownership for the education of our youth in our county. But during COVID, of course, he took that ownership, he took that leadership, and really brought 20 unique, separate school districts and brought us together and really steered a ship so we were moving in the same direction.
As a county, we had to make the difficult decision of closing our schools during the pandemic, probably one of the most challenging decisions we've had to make.
I'm often asked, Sandy, what was the most difficult part of the pandemic? And it's always easy for me to say it was the day we had to close schools. I was one of those superintendents that was having a very difficult time just with the thought of closing. And it was really about Steve bringing us all together, providing that facilitation, that leadership, those deep conversations that needed to happen for us to come together as one.
Dr. Tejan was there leading the discussion, debating the pros and cons, and ultimately helping us make that decision that led to the closure of our schools for a time.
Because again, 20 superintendents, 20 personalities, we're all strong-minded, we all have our own school boards that also have their own opinions and visions, and so to bring those 20 superintendents together and be skilled enough to facilitate a conversation that brought us to closing our schools, that doesn't happen easily. That takes some real skill, and Dr. Tejan had that skill for us.
He was also there to help us lead back into the reopening of our schools. Steve has always been a great listener. I think he really tries to understand our perspective as superintendents, having been a superintendent himself, and he cares for kids.
Well, Dr. Tejan was instrumental in helping us get our schools open, and he takes the ownership that's necessary to provide an education for all the youth in Merced County.
Our first teacher honoree is Mike Arnold from the Atwater Elementary School District. Mike teaches 7th grade math at Mitchell Senior. Mike believes that to teach a student means to connect, understand, inspire, and change them. His teaching is rooted in building relationships with students. Whether it is after-school activities like Minecraft Club or reviewing for a math test in a virtual escape room, Mike has the ability to create amusing and original activities for students of all levels of reluctance and encourage them to explore and create.
Our next honoree is Tanya Abrams from the Delhi Unified School District. Tanya is a special education teacher at Delhi High School. What truly sets Tanya apart is the amount of time she makes available to her students. Whether it be after school, on the weekend, or even tutoring students during summer break, she makes herself available whenever students or parents need her. Tanya understands the importance of communicating and creating relationships, and her enthusiasm, love, and passion for supporting and teaching is the definition of going above and beyond.
Our next honoree is Debbie Martin from the Dos Palos Oro Loma Joint Unified School District. Debbie is a reading specialist at Dos Palos Elementary School. Debbie believes that students don't care about how much you know, but rather how much you care. As a teacher, Debbie understands that it is her professional responsibility to be fully engaged with students and to foster relationships with them, their parents, and the community. She plays a crucial role in ensuring struggling families have a voice in their children's educational struggles and successes.
Our next honoree is Linda Garibay from the El Nido Elementary School District. Linda is a second grade teacher at El Nido Elementary School. Linda proves that even after 16 years, she is a dynamic member of the El Nido family. She remains current with the latest instructional strategies and technologies and can reach any student with profound empathy. Because of her own pursued professional development, she has the ability to challenge her brightest students as well. Above all, she teaches students to strive for excellence, to love reading, and to respect each other.
Our next honoree is Michelle Burkhart from the Gustine Unified School District. Michelle is a distance learning teacher for Gustine Elementary School. For Michelle, teaching is the highest responsibility anyone can have. As a teacher, she believes that she not only holds the responsibility of teaching students multiple subjects, but also to teach them life skills and behaviors they need to become successful adults. Michelle approaches teaching with a humbleness and passion for making sure all students reach their highest level of academic success.
Our next honoree is Amy Pikus from the Los Banos Unified School District. Amy is an inclusion specialist at Mercy Springs Elementary. In her 10 years of experience, Amy has worked with the most at-risk students. Her dedication to them and her work are without fail. Amy is described as someone with exceptional grit. Her desire to be the first one to volunteer and her ability to take up extra projects whenever necessary displays the level of dedication she has both on campus and in the community. Her presence radiates positivity and optimism wherever she goes.
Our next honoree is Erica Batista from the Los Banos Unified School District. Erica was chosen from a team of early education professionals as the Preschool Teacher of the Year. Erica is optimistic, energetic, and constantly pursuing opportunities for professional growth. In addition to teaching her preschool students, Erica also participated in the Merced College Mentor Program, where she provided mentorship to college students and acted as coordinator for the Children's Leadership Training Institute. With anything she does, Erica carries herself with a positive demeanor and encourages her students to do the same.
Our next honoree is Erin Mills from the McSwain Union Elementary School District. The superintendent is Andrew Kirsten. Erin is a resource specialist at McSwain Elementary School. Erin not only displays dedication and consideration while working with students' individualized education programs, but she also proves that creativity is one of her strongest characteristics. Her ability to motivate students to not be held back by fear allows them to cultivate relationships and foster an education in emotional growth. Erin finds rewards in everything her students do, even if it's making a new friend or trying a new activity.
Our next honoree is Elizabeth Aviz Avila from the Merced County Office of Education, Special Education Department. The assistant superintendent is Susan Costin. Elizabeth has demonstrated her ability to provide intensive support for behaviorally challenged students and implemented a curriculum to keep them engaged and productive. More importantly, Elizabeth shows her students that she genuinely cares for them, believing that once a student feels cared for, they can open up to the learning process. Loving first and teaching second is the most powerful message she sends her students.
Our next honoree is Crystal Souza from the Merced Union High School District. Crystal is a special education teacher at Livingston High School. Crystal has demonstrated a dedication for teaching that truly makes her stand out from the crowd. During the pandemic, she made home visits to maintain connections with students and help them stay engaged in their studies. Teaching allows Crystal to help her students find their voice and advocate for themselves. Her patience, kindness, and compassion in the face of difficult days are what make her a model for other educators.
Our next honoree is Melissa Sanders from the Weaver Union School District. Melissa is a teacher at Weaver Middle School. In addition to her many accomplishments as a teacher, she is also the director and producer of Weaver Performing Arts. The annual program is one of many opportunities Melissa is involved in that provides a platform for students to develop their creativity and promote positive social and emotional growth. In her years of teaching, Melissa has served generations of families and truly embodies the values that make Weaver a great place for students to grow and succeed.
Pam just really has a heart for kids. Like, she is just here because she wants to help kids. She's always there for them. She's always there to help them. She does after-school tutorial. Whatever they need, she will help them with that. But there's still an expectation that they're going to learn at a high level.
She is amazing in that every scholar should have high expectations. She often has conferences with families and the student to build the rapport and say, these are our needs, these are where you're doing great, these are your strengths, but we really need to work on this together. And she makes a plan with the family and she keeps in contact with them. And she is there every day to provide that support, and the students enjoy that connection with her.
Miss Atkinson has a very unique personality. She's like strict in a way, but she also tries to like connect with her students so like she can understand what they like, what they don't like, and she wants to get to know you. She wants to be your teacher, but she also wants to be your friend.
My teaching philosophy is that it is my job to teach my students how to teach themselves and to use every avenue that I have available to me to help them be successful in that. The more strategies and methodologies that I can use with those kids, the better chance they have of being successful in life. When I was a student, I was only taught how to feed back facts, and I never felt like I really learned. When I got to college, I was really at a loss. I didn't know how to study, I didn't know how to teach myself, and so it was a goal of mine from day one to teach my kids how to teach themselves. I want my students to feel like they're in a college class.
The main thing I would thank her for is teaching us how to teach ourselves, especially because of the pandemic. When COVID came around, we kind of weren't struggling as bad as other students because we already knew how we were supposed to teach ourselves when we got assigned the work.
The number one thing I want my students to learn is how to learn. When they first come into the classroom, I tell them I am not here to teach them information. I'm here to teach them how to teach themselves. And once they know how to teach themselves, they're going to be using that strategy for the rest of their lives.
I think that she just embodies the love of education and the love of helping students achieve. She will go the extra mile for kids. She really wants to help students, and I think that that just shines through when you work with her.
If someone knows that you care, you're way more willing to do something for that teacher. You're more willing to dig deeper. They know that you care about the whole child and not just the child that's learning in your room.
Miss Atkinson is an extraordinary person who puts everything out there for her students, for her school, for the staff. There isn't anything she wouldn't do to help, encourage, and motivate her students. They're having fun and enjoying what they're learning. And her expectations are through the roof. And it doesn't matter who you are, your expectations are that you will meet the standard or pass it. There's no exception. No student gets away with not meeting that expectations. That definitely makes her Teacher of the Year.
I'm Pam Atkinson. I'm an 8th grade language arts and social studies teacher at Hoover Middle School. Thank you for bestowing this incredible honor. It would not have happened had I not worked with an amazing set of administrators, a talented, dedicated department team, and colleagues throughout the county and Granite School District in Utah, where I first began teaching over 40 years ago. I have had the opportunity and honor of serving with so many role models and friends. When a teacher walks into the classroom and sees a beautiful mosaic of students representing every race, culture, socioeconomic level, proficiency level, and ideology, there is a flood of emotions. excitement to get to know each student, determination to meet the student's current emotional and educational needs, and then help them progress farther than they have in the past. And understanding that this will take hours of work, but the motivation to do whatever it takes. I am humbled to know that I represent these exemplary teachers. Like their students, they also come from a variety of lifestyles. Some are the first to have earned a college degree in their family and know the hard path many of their students are walking. Others have had opportunities that few have experienced, and they can share the world's wonders and build upon the limited background knowledge of their students and give them the tools they need to comprehend their studies better. All of them wanted to provide their students with a rich, rigorous education. Educators know that this is not an easy task. Roadblocks like a pandemic can slow them down, but they can build bridges because they are resilient. They will find ways to improve their technical knowledge, and they will teach their students via distance learning. They still found ways to make their lessons relevant and engaging. Teachers scaffold instruction for various proficiency levels, provide graphic organizers that help their students become better writers, and find projects that engage students to develop their critical thinking skills. When one spends a little time on campus, this dedication is visible and tangible. Go to a game and look at the teachers in the stands cheering on their students because they enjoy seeing them shine outside of their classrooms. Walk by classrooms during lunch and see them chatting with students while watching other students play games, all basking in the safe haven the classroom and their teacher provides. Watch teachers staying late to tutor students who are struggling, and then give up their evenings to plan lessons and grade papers. Watch them beam with pride when they see that light of understanding shine on a student's face when being taught a problematic concept. Notice how many evenings, weekends, and summer breaks they sacrifice for the knowledge gained during professional development courses. These are Merced County's teachers, and I am proud to serve with them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to our virtual 2021 Excellence in Education Awards, and a huge congratulations to all of our honorees and our winners. I'd like to again thank EECU and CEO Beth Dooley for the ongoing support of this event and educators across Merced County and Central California. Thanks for all you do. Have a great evening.